This one I have not seen, so we're going to react to it together. But this is Nick Fuentes on why dating women is gay.
Nick, why do you think dating women is gay?
Well, here's what I think is gay. It is gay to date women. Here's what's gay about it. What's gay about it is that, you know, when I think about relations between men and women, it's about sex. All of my views about men and women come down to the biological imperative, which is that when a man and woman reach the age of sexual maturity, they want to have sex. According to Catholic sexual morality, the only way to have sex is within marriage. That's what makes it moral. Because to have sex is to have kids. Unless there's something wrong with you. To have sex is to have kids. Kids need a mother and a father that are going to stick together. So the way that you...
So I love how he even like just steamrolls past this, but like this is the easiest counter to that. It's like, okay, what about people that can't have kids? You're telling me that they can never have sex? Well, no. Okay, why? That logically makes sense. Like if you're really going to tell me that the only reason to have sex is to, give birth to children, then why would somebody who can't do that be able to have sex? Oh, well, that's not fair. Okay. No, I mean, I think the thing that makes sex moral is consent. I think that's pretty obvious and pretty clear. Anyways.
Build a stable society is to say the mother and the father are going to have to be together before they have kids and have sex. They're going to have to be made one flesh. They're going to have to, that's their obligation to their children. That's their obligation to God. And so my view of sex and in the United States is people should be getting married younger. Because what they're doing now is they're going out and they're having a lot of hookups or having a lot of casual sex, which I don't think anybody's really, in the end, deeply satisfied with this arrangement. So people reach the age of sexual maturity. They want to have sex. They go out and have lots of sex. And they wait maybe 5, 10, 15 years. They wait until they're in their mid-20s, late 20s, 30s, before when the women are past their prime in looks. They wait for men to really have all their ducks in a row. Then finally, now we want to have kids. And what happens? Well, at that point, the women aren't particularly fertile. Maybe they're only going to have a couple of kids. And also at that point, maybe both of them have had a lot of sexual partners and they've become maybe bitter, cynical, set in their ways. They haven't grown together. It makes it less likely they'll stay together. This is a very dysfunctional situation. And so
okay, so a couple things with this. I actually don't disagree with him on the hookup culture. Should people be able to do that? Yes. But I mean, I do agree that like ultimately you are going to have a more healthy and health. I don't know about health. Well, probably healthy, but for sure, more happy and fulfilling life if you have sex with fewer people and focus on finding a partner, finding somebody they want to be with, and having a sexual experience with them. Hooking up is very. There's something about sex where we're getting really gay, guys. There's something about sex that it's a lot better when it's with someone who understands you sexually. Not even in terms of the emotional part, but also just the physical aspects of it, right? You kind of both know what you like. You're more comfortable trying different things, etc. It's really hard to do that when you're just having sex with a different person every time. Even if you can gain experience through that, there's this whole element of communication that can be missed with hookup culture. So I agree with that. I was listening to this pro-natalist podcast, or this podcast on modern wisdom that was kind of the pro-natalist, anti-natalist argument, which I think are kind of just dumb positions. It's okay, you're really telling, I have a hard time believing that the majority of anti-natalists are against people having kids. So it's just a dumb binary. It's just this pro-anti thing that doesn't really actually equate. But I think a lot of times these people who promote having kids, they will overlook the very simple fact that like it can be multifaceted. Like, sure, there is this factor in society where there's this hookup culture that's very real. However, I think more people would be willing to have children if the economy was better. And they always like to overlook this. They always like to say, yeah, well, that's not really what's going on. But I mean, it really is. And also, I think you have to get like another thing that they won't contend with is like, okay, if people just start having kids, with no, not thinking about their situation or how, maybe they're in a low income environment, and bringing kids into that environment is, more than likely going to give your kid a worse quality of life. These are just things that like they just don't consider. Like the only thing that matters is that you have kids. And I don't know, man. I think it's probably better for people like if you wait a little bit and then have one or two kids, and you're in a place that's financially stable and you can actually provide for those kids, that's going to be a lot better for everybody than like just pumping out 5 kids when you're 19, don't have a job, and have no prospects, and then your kids are just going to be feeding off the fucking tit of the government, and they're not going to really have a lot, and then there's more room for abuse, and like if it's a single mother, the factor that increases the likelihood of child abuse is like introducing a stepfather. It's like a 20, like it increases the chance of there being abuse by 20. There's so many things that like just practically are like, yeah, maybe like just this view of just like recklessly having kids, like maybe that's not really the best thing for everybody. But anyways,
prescription for men and women
we're kind of going off the gay stuff, but let's just roll with it.
Get married a lot younger when they reach that biological age of maturity, and then they're supposed to have kids. Then when the men and women are young and energetic, that's when they're having a big family, and they can take care of a big family because they have energy. And then they grow together. They
have no money. They don't have money.
They mature and grow into adults together, and they're more likely to stay together. The reason that dating is gay is because it's sterile. There's something very sterile about dating. Men are using condoms. What's gayer than using a condom? Preventing your virile seed from impregnating a woman, not to sound graphic, but like that's very gay. It's gay for a woman to be on birth control and like denying the creation of life. It's gay for men and women to be not married, but texting each other all day and watching Disney movies and cuddling together and, playing this sort of game throughout college and then into early adulthood. Will they or won't they? Am I going to get married? Maybe we'll live together. I think the whole thing is just deeply unserious and just very kind of juvenile and immature. And I think that it kind of reflects like a arrested development. It's like a stunted growth and maturity. So I think you should look up what the definition of gay is.